Good morning. Today is Giving Tuesday. Yay! And from now until 10:30, we have a double match challenge going on. So for every dollar that you give, it will be doubled. If you give $25, it'll be 50. If you give 100, it'll be 200. If you give 1,000, it'll be 2,000. If you give 5,000, it'll be 10,000. We have had some incredibly generous donors give match challenges coming into Giving Tuesday. We have $16,727 in match challenges this morning, and that is from 18 very, very generous donors, and we are so excited. I am Ann Miller, and I'm President and Executive Director of the Home Educators Association of Virginia, and I am thrilled to be here after another challenging year in many ways. I am so grateful to be here with you, and I'm so appreciative of your support. This year is also HEAV's 40th anniversary, and we were just talking. We have some guests coming on in a few minutes, but one of the things we were talking about was what has HEAV meant to our families, like personally, what has HEAV meant to our families? And I'm a boomer. I am a longtime old homeschooler, and we decided to homeschool in 1980 before there were any homeschool laws. And when our oldest was about almost 5, well, she was 5, and it was right before we needed to determine whether to we didn't know anything about HEAV until she was 5. And then we saw something in a local newspaper about this state organization. And we were able to call HEAV. Remember, there was no internet, no social media. I mean, the internet maybe for the government, but not for the masses. No email, no way of communication in that time except for print. And so when I saw this in the local paper, something about this homeschool organization I didn't even know anything about, I contacted them. And this would have been in 1985, I think, 85, 86. And they were able to help me, even back then, they were able to help me understand what the laws were, what the notice of intent law was, what the religious exemption law was, and then we were able to make the choice that was best for our family. So even all those years ago, HEAV was here. I guess that would have been 37 years ago. 37? Yep, 37 years, because this is HEAV's 40th anniversary. So, and I know that for many of you, hey, Kim, Kim, thank you so much for your donation. Yay. Let's be here for another 40 years. Thanks so much. I know that many of you who are watching this, HEAV has been there for you too. And we would love to hear your stories. So if you have a story of how HEAV has helped you, and it could be in the last 40 days or 40 hours, because I know we have a lot of new people coming into our group every day, every hour. Thank you, Jennifer, for your donation. Yay, thanks so much. Tell us how HEAV has helped you. And remember, every donation that you make from now until 10:30 will be doubled. Homeschooling has grown so much in Virginia. Yes, there you go. Every donation given before 10:30 will be doubled. Yay. Thank you so much to our Match Challenge donors who add a little excitement to Giving Tuesday. Homeschooling has grown so much. You know, when we had COVID, we had like a huge jump, and then it came down a little bit and a little bit. But we have seen, I think it's 35.5% growth in homeschooling from pre-COVID numbers to now. So homeschooling is continuing to grow, and I see our Facebook is continuing to grow as well. We have over 24,000 members in our Facebook group. Hey, Amy, thank you so much. Your donation will be double matched. Thanks so much for your support. This year in homeschooling, we got the numbers from the Department of Education about a month ago or so, and the numbers are that there are families who are doing online courses and things like that who are still technically teaching their children at home. But we are excited about just under 60,000 families in homeschooling in Virginia. And we talk to a lot of you, and we've been here for many of you. And we're so excited about that. And things like Giving Tuesday, when you support HEAV, you are supporting all the homeschool families that we support. And if you can remember when you had your desperate questions, or you didn't know what to do about a bullying situation, or your child who was struggling to read or do math, and you called our offices, we have trained counselors who are there all year long, not just for a weekend, but they are there all year long. Thank you, Albert, so much for your donation. Yay! But you know that we are there for you. We have trained counselors in our Facebook group. We have in our office, we have all kinds of phone counselors who can answer general questions, but also they have specialties with transcripts in high school and choosing curriculum. And we remember, I remember, and I know our teams remember what it was like when we first began homeschooling. And the thing about homeschooling when you're just beginning is it doesn't stay static, because your child is always getting older. And then you have to understand, well, I could do kindergarten or preschool. I could do preschool. And oh, wait, now I need to think about kindergarten and first grade. And then it's sixth grade. And oh, middle school, what are we going to do? And then high school, what are we going to do? And through all those stages, your support has helped HEAV be here and have our websites and our publications, and just to be that shoulder to, I was going to say lean on, sometimes cry on, and we'll cry with you, because life is challenging, and we know that firsthand from our own experiences, and we love being able to be here to support you. Right now, I would like to bring on our first guest. This has been a very challenging year in many ways. And one of the big challenges is that our convention director of 14 years retired, and this was her last convention. And we have prayed fervently for a year for the Lord to send us a new convention director, and he has sent Jessica Vasquez. And we are so excited. Jessica, would you just share a little bit about your homeschool journey and your experiences with HEAV and what you're doing with us?
Awesome. Yes. Oh, and thank you, Sherry, for your donation. That is awesome. Yes, thank you. My experience with homeschooling. So we are starting we're just in the middle of beginning our second year of homeschooling for a seventh grader and a sixth grader. So all in on the middle school. Up into fourth and fifth grade, we were in the public school system, which I grew up in the public school system. My husband did as well. So I would say we're still in the transition phase, growing and learning. And not only did we start homeschooling, but we had just moved to Virginia as well, all during the same time. So obviously coming across HEAV was very, very helpful to us to learn through it, just in my research and talking to folks. And I think I became a member maybe around March of last year, and just got really excited, was just overjoyed with all the resources that are available for free, basically, on the website, and learned about convention and went to convention and fell in love with that there, and just all the bountiful resources. Yeah, it was mind blowing, literally. Even even though I had basically a full year under my belt, I still took advantage of the new homeschool how to begins workshops that are offered there, and was able to see just other like-minded people, and have been really, really, really just taking advantage of the resources that HEAV has. And particularly, we're also a military family, so even just the leg of when you go on the website and see the resources for military families, and What I love about HEAV, that it's not just so much what HEAV itself as an organization can do to you, but how you connect us also to other resources that are also available. Like if we don't have that answer directly, we know where to get it. And there's so much expertise and so much love and support from, the top down in the organization. Thank you, Karen, for your donation.
Karen. Yay, that will be doubled.
Yes. We still got time. It's 10:17, so we still have some more time. So thank you very much. Till 10:30. So that is a little bit of the journey. So we still take advantage of the resources that have HEAV have available for us. Currently, we're looking at, what curriculum work best for us. So we're looking at that through resources at HEAV. As you mentioned, the support, the counselors as well. It's just a very united community that's very helpful for a new homeschool family like ourselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are so excited to have Jessica on board with us. And when she came to the convention, she told me, like, who are these people? These are my people.
Yep. I said I've got to be a part of it. I just was so overwhelmed in a good way because there was just support for everything you need. I mean, every age group support, as I said before, from kindergarten through high school. The high school graduations there, I mean, that's such a support. I mean, I was, leaving when my son, they were 4th and 5th grade in public school system, usually at the end of 5th grade, where we were living at the moment, is when they have a ceremony and a graduation. So it's good. Those are things that we struggle with as a family, like those aspects that of, like traditionally how they're run. So it was so good to not know much about how homeschooling support works and be like, oh, okay, we can still do these things. Like there's support here. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, obviously it's a high school graduation, but it was good at the convention. It's good to know that it was opening my eyes little by little, and still is, as to the support that you can get from a social aspect as well, which I think it's a big concern, obviously, for people that don't know much about homeschooling and are on the fence. That really spoke to me as well, the support in every aspect, parent support, like you can do this, as well as, hey, we do have areas where you as a community, as a family, as your students, yourself as a parent can come and get support.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yay, your donations doubled. Thank you so much.
Double.
Thank you, Virginia, for your donation too. Doubled.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, we still got, let's see, so we got 10 more minutes for the double. So I encourage you very much I was very grateful to have HEAV as an option and become a member. So I obviously fully support it, and I encourage folks who are thinking about it or not really sure how this can help someone. HEAV is a wonderful, wonderful organization. And like Anne said, we didn't start yesterday, so something is going right, Something is going right.
We've been around for just a few years.
Yep.
One of the things that we really love with Jessica coming on, and I'm sure when she was at convention, she had no idea that she was going to be the next convention director.
Nope.
But one of the things that we really love in Jessica joining the HEAV team is that she's bringing that new homeschooler perspective. Mm-hmm. And I already see it, like when she's looking at convention details, she's thinking about you, new homeschoolers out there, and firsthand, like what will be beneficial, what would I have liked to have seen, can you talk about that a little bit, that fresh perspective that you're bringing to things?
Yeah, thank you. I will. So I am very excited about that because there is like a gap. I feel like people that don't know about homeschool think like, oh, I don't think I can do that. That's not for me, or that's from 40 years ago, or is that even legal? Like, I don't even think people understand their rights. And I think that's really where my heart is at too. Like I was on the fence for a while, and it was just a leap of faith. and researching, and doing it afraid. I mean, there is support for you out there. And we're here to support that. If you're even, thinking about it or not sure, you can call one of our counselors, just call the office. And that fresh perspective is, yes, there are a lot of new homeschoolers, I think, that they cannot do it. So just a perspective of encouragement, of knowing that there is freedom in there, to be able to to do that, to homeschool, and just that perspective, like I was saying before, that we do have that support. Our kids are not going to be like not have a social life. There is support there. There is freedom. There is just knowing that you can do this. So I think just bringing that perspective of like, okay, what did I or I still have a challenge with as a new homeschool parent, just really the encouragement of that you can do this as a homeschool parent. You have the right to do this, and there is plenty of support, and that you don't have to do it alone. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Tara, thank you for your donation. Thank you so much.
Yay, Tara. And John.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
for making this Giving Tuesday a success. And
yes.
and every dollar that you give, we are frugal. Mostly, we have some men in HEAV, but we're mostly frugal homeschool moms. And every dollar that you give, we carefully steward that. We stretch it. We know how to stretch a dollar as homeschool moms. And we just appreciate your support and use the support that you give us wisely and carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, I just love, when you mentioned the word freedom, our convention theme this year is
freedom.
And it's one of the big things. I love that you mentioned that. It's one of the big things that we want you to understand as homeschool families, and is the freedom that you have to teach and train your children according to your faith, according to your morals and your convictions, that you have the opportunity to instill the values that you want in your children. And you have the freedom to be able to do that. You have the freedom to choose any materials or no materials, whatever works for your family. Some people can use just the library resources. There are free resources online. I know for us, we did such an eclectic mix of everything from classical education to unschooling to interest-based, project-based. We did it all. Charlotte Mason, Kristen says, I want to homeschool, but I don't have the support. And how do I know that my kids will go to the next grade? I work full-time and feel like I wouldn't be able to homeschool. Jessica.
Kristen, you are right. I literally, as Anne was speaking, I thought to myself, I want to make sure that I address. So Kristen, I want to talk to you and anyone having this question. So as Anne said, I just got hired recently as a convention director, and that is a full-time job. So it is feasible, it is doable for you to work full-time and homeschool. I know that may sound like what in the world, but that is one of the things that I enjoyed about convention. When I went to convention, I went to various workshops that talked about how can I work full-time or part-time, whatever that looks like, and still homeschool. So to Anne's question before, that's one of the things that I would like to see continue in conventions, providing support for those parents who need to work full-time, because both parents in our household here work full-time jobs and homeschool children. So there is feasibility. The good thing about homeschooling is that, again, it does not need to look like, hardly ever looks like traditional schooling, what we know of as, from the 8 to 3 or something like that. It is feasible. And that is part of the freedom that even my family is unraveling. And like, we have the flexibility to make it work to us. So that part of your statement about the full-time, working full-time, how can you do it? There have been sacrifices, obviously, that have to be done. Just kind of like, you have to really look what works for your family specifically, and maybe for each child, each student individually. It doesn't necessarily have to look like what I'm doing or your neighbor is doing. And I don't remember the first part of Christian's question, but I just wanted to speak to at least I want to homeschool, but I don't have the support. And how do I know that my kids will go to the next grade? Well, for the support, I know we have the phone counselors. Sister Ann, did you want to speak a little bit more to her first part?
Yes. On the support part, on our website, we have support groups listed. We always encourage parents to connect locally with other families that homeschool. And there are support groups and co-ops all throughout the state. And you have to find the one that fits for you. Or if you have a friend who's homeschooling, you can start your own group, have your own park days and have accountability and do fun things together. But we're here for you. But on the local level, we have a director of homeschool support, Sherry Payne, who can help get you connected to your local groups and people in your area who can, and maybe their group might not be a perfect fit for you, but they can connect you to other resources right in your community where you can get support. Yes. And that support part is very important. I just want to say I have 8 children. They're all grown and married. My youngest is 27 and my oldest is 42. I don't know how that happened because I'm not 42 yet. But, and we homeschooled all the way through. And I worked the whole time. I worked with HEAV full time. And also my husband had a construction business and I worked for him in his company with design and also running the office. So it is possible because what Jessica said, your schedule doesn't have to look like anybody else's schedule. You can do homeschooling at night, in the morning, on the weekends. And it also does not take as long as it does in a classroom setting. When our children go to school, they could be there for 5 to 7 hours a day. And they're away from home for that much time. But really, you do not need that amount of time. In the lower grades, a couple of hours often, and some of that unstructured
right.
For the lower grades. And as they get older, 3 to 5 hours. High school, there's so many projects. It's hard to keep. For me, it was hard to keep track of any kind of hours because we counted their projects building a mini bike. I think I put up a post in response to someone's concern. I was talking about having that educational mindset. Oh, you know what? It is 10:30 and our challenge match is about to end. So if you would like your donation doubled, we could go on and on here. Thank you, Kevin, for your donation.
Hey, Kevin.
It will be doubled. And if we started late, could we make our match challenge go for like a few more, like maybe 3 or 4 more minutes, Maureen?
Thank you, Bill, for your donation.
Bill, yay. But yes. So let's say you have 3 more minutes, Maureen. I'm going to extend it. Maureen Bittner is our publications director, and she and Laura, our social media manager, they're on the back end.
They're behind the scenes.
They're behind the scenes making it all happen. So 3 extra minutes for donation match.
Yeah. But we do want to reiterate, if you have any specific questions and need support for homeschool, please call our office because we can talk about it, one-on-one there. So please, we know every situation is unique.
Yeah. And I think we missed 2. There was, I think another question just came up from Kristen, and there was one before that. My mom doesn't approve of homeschool, but I want to bring her to the convention. Yes, for her to learn why so many people homeschool. Would there ever be a convention in Roanoke, Virginia? Because I would like my husband to attend. Well, one of the issues with our convention is it is the size of our convention. There's only one facility in Virginia that is large enough to hold all the components of our convention, and that is in Richmond. We have looked at colleges. We had done it at Liberty University. This is probably like 25 years ago. We did it at Liberty. But the likelihood of the whole convention moving unless they build some mega convention center, it's probably Richmond we're kind of locked in there until, unless another facility becomes available, that's affordable. And not that the Richmond Center is overly affordable, but it does give us a great place for a convention. Yeah. So, but bringing your mom to convention, grandparents can come for free. And the reason we want grandparents to come for free is because we want them to kind of taste and see, because sometimes they just see you there with your kids and they're thinking, they love you. They love your children. They want what's best for them. And we've mostly all been brought up in the public or that form of that system of education. And so when parents and husbands, so many dads have been converted to homeschooling by coming to convention. Coming to convention, it's really kind of Jessica, you were just there for the first time. You can speak to the experience.
Yes. That was another thing that was supported. I saw that there were specific workshops for dads too, and even specific. I'm a mom of boys. I have 2 boys, so there were also. I saw a lot of those dads in the, how to raise a boy or how to boys in homeschooling, things like that. So those were other things that I really love about HEAV, that they are very cognizant and aware that not every homeschooler is the same or struggling, and we have these issues that it's homeschooling, as a family. It's not a one person thing or anything like that. So that support is really, really good and just awesome. And I do think that it's good to have dads and moms and grandparents there. And I have spoken about this before, that we do get that a lot. You do have a lot of our parents not really understanding or forgiving, like Anne said, like, what are you doing with my grandchildren? Like she had shared that with me. Like, what is, again, there's that freedom, I think, in empowering ourselves and educating ourselves and making sure that we're okay with it and learning about it will help us, fight those battles, if you will, for lack of a better term, because you do have the right, to homeschool your children on how you want that to look like, within parameters, obviously. And I think someone had asked about that before. Yeah. How do we move on to the next grade? There are parameters there, like Anne was mentioning before, that we can help in the office about how do you make sure that your child is going to the next grade and things like that.
Yeah, grades. What are grades? I can remember people like, what grade are you in? Well, I'm in 5th grade math and 8th grade English. And that's one of the freedoms we have in homeschooling is we don't have to worry about grades. And the thing is, what we want with our children is mastery. We want them to learn what they need to learn. I had one daughter who went through algebra and she realized she didn't really get it. And it didn't sync with her soul. And she went back and did the whole thing again. And so did I hold her back a grade? Thank you, Tara. Thank you.
Tara.
Did I hold her back like a grade level? No, I looked at SOLs as a guide, but so I knew kind of what was happening in the school system, but I never used them for grade levels, or actually even for planning a curriculum. But there's a comfort there of knowing, like, okay, we did that 3 years ago, or we're going to do that next year. There is some comfort in that. But the grade levels are honestly artificial constructs that the school system has for helping teachers teach classrooms of students. But the thing is, when you look at your children, everyone is different. Everyone learns at their own rate and in their own time. And so I had a son who couldn't read anything, not Cat in the Hat, until he was almost 10. He could not read. And we had some testing done. And I got mentoring help back then. This is a long time ago, to understand childhood development, and that children develop at different times. It's like when they learn to walk or when they learn to potty train. There's a range there
right.
for kids, and it's the same way in learning. Mm-hmm. And so now that son who didn't read anything, I mean, nothing until he was almost 10, he's now a PhD engineer who co-founded a multi-billion-dollar company, who's off. I don't know if I'm allowed to say where he's going now, but big thing.
Probably not, Anne. So
But he couldn't read anything till he was almost 10.
Mm.
So would I have left him back for grade levels?
Yeah.
And if you want to do grade levels and that works for you, it's okay, because that's the freedom we have.
There's freedom, exactly. I was going to say there's freedom in that.
What works for you, it has to work for you and your family.
Right.
And you have freedom, but you don't have to worry. You don't need to have that fear. Although we always have that mama fear, though.
Right. Yeah. And if you're sitting here wondering, like, and you're like, what is that? What do you mean you don't go according to grades? Again, call our office. Continue following our Facebook pages. So if you do more events like this, you can find out more information. But there is so much freedom in there, so much knowledge. You can, like Anne said, you can, if you're more, traditional, you can do the grade level, and there are parameters that we have to follow, obviously, per state guidelines, but we have the education to provide that for you if you're wondering. I think we saw a donation from John, so thank you, John, so much for that donation. And I also saw something that if you missed, and thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much.
I think we have you. There we go. If you missed it, the next double match challenge will be at 12:30 today. So tell your friends, share the post. 12:30 today, another double match challenge. Thank you so much for all who have donated and have joined us on this live. This has been so much fun.
It has. And with Giving Tuesday, your support helps us be here, helps us have the counselors, helps us be able to share the encouragement and the wisdom that we've learned the hard way. I have lots of scars. I'll be happy to show them to you. 8 children, you can imagine. 6 boys. I'm a boy mom too. But we have, all of our counselors are experienced homeschool parents, and they've walked maybe 10 miles in your shoes and have wisdom that I'm an eat the meat, spit out the bones person. Like, take what you need, and in homeschooling, find what works for you and do that. And because you have that freedom. And this year, this 2024, you're going to hear so much about freedom, because we want you to know you have the freedom. And if you love a structured, prepackaged curriculum and that works for your family, I know a family, they did the same curriculum for all 5 kids from kindergarten through high school. And that was what worked for them. Hey, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Our military mom.
Yes, Nat. Yeah, and it's funny she should join, because I said, and I want to mention 2 things before I get off. Is one, like I mentioned in the beginning, I am a military spouse. So if you have questions about that, and you heard me mention about state requirements, obviously we have support for you. We understand you have to be moving, so you can do it as a full-time working mom, as a military spouse. And also one of the things that I loved about convention was the Hispanic outreach. So, sometimes I have a neighbor who's an immigrant. I'm a child of immigrant parents. And, sometimes we're like, well, we can't do it. We didn't grow up here. We don't even know the school system here. So you can do it. You do have the freedom. We are here to help. And again, our double match challenge will start at 12:30 today to help support folks like you and friends and family that may have questions as well. So
yes, thank you so much.
As a military homeschooling mom, HEAV has always been my go-to homeschool conference whenever we have been stationed close enough to attend. Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, and Natalie's been at convention, and I hope you'll be there this year too.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
with the military families.
Yes.
And and that's the thing, when you're giving today on Giving Tuesday, you are supporting the work of HEAV. You are helping us to be here for all the families. Almost 60,000 homeschool students in Virginia, and we are here for you and for your friends. We can, with resources and support and ideas that may make your homeschooling easier and better. I know for myself, every year, I went to convention every year. From when we first heard there was an HEAV in a convention, and every year I just learned new things that helped me for that next level. We talked about that step. And we have so many people here. And later today, Yvonne Bunn is going to be coming on live, I believe, and she's our Director of Government Affairs, and she and her team are there monitoring all the school board meetings in the state, because that's where things often happen, at the school board level. And she's going to be talking about a lot of the challenges that we've had this year, the pushback. They've had, I don't remember the number off my top of my head. It's like 140 or 50 or 70 incidents this year with school superintendents and their designees having overreach, asking for more than the law allows. And that's one thing, that's a freedom that we have in the law. We have freedom in the law to be able to teach and train our children. And so she's going to come on and she's going to tell you some of those stories, some of the things that have happened in the General Assembly, because your support here on Giving Tuesday also helps us to have lobbyists on the ground, boots on the ground in the Capitol, face to face with the legislators, and protecting and promoting our homeschool freedoms. And she's going to come on, and your support today helps us do all of those things, we hope, for the next 40 years. So thank you for being here. We just appreciate you. We appreciate your generosity and your support for the work of HEAV. Awesome. And thank you, Jessica, for joining us. This is her first Facebook Live. She did
Yes.
You're a natural.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned all day. We have also our speaker coordinators going on at 3:00 if you want to find out a little bit more about convention, I think.
Speakers. So, yeah. Speaker reveals. All right. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so much. And next double match challenge is at 12:30.
Yes.
See you later. Bye.